All right, tonight we're going to do a digital dash tour. So I've done a few live videos, and sometimes they work out great, sometimes they don't. We'll see how this one goes, but I thought I would do one and walk you through all the settings on the new digital dash. This is a 2019 F-Pace S with the digital dash. One of the biggest difference you'll notice right off the bat compared to the 2017 is the layout of the dials, where the dials are spread out, one far left, one far right, and you have a big space in the center. Typically on the 2017s you have a dial in the center, a dial to the right, and off to the left is where you would have your logo or your what's going on the radio and things like that. So when I first start the car up, this is what you see. Right now, that little green to the lower left lets me know my headlights are on because it's kind of dusk. It's about 8:05 at night here. It says park up there because my parking brake is on, and then the auto light is on because my lights are set to automatically come on. Rev it up a little bit. You'll see the car will rev up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of walk through all the different settings that are on here. To get into the menu, first thing you do is on the steering wheel, it says menu OK. Just press the menu, and you'll see at the top there, up comes, by default, I believe it's the trip meter comes up. And put that again. As we go through these, we can kind of take a look at them. So I have the trip, the display, the heads-up display. I have the heads-up display in this car. All the vehicle settings, the vehicle info, my phone information, my media information, the driver assistance, which is all the blind spot, steering, things like that, and back to my trip information. So if we start at the trip information, if you down arrow one, this is the trip bank, and it kind of shows you have your trip meter, trip A, trip B, and the automatic one. I just keep it on A, and it'll show me what my mileage is. And if you go down to, if I want to select B, I would just go to that menu option. I'd hit OK. It would automatically switch. Go back to A, hit OK. It goes back. I tab back up to trip, and I can go back up one more, and it exits out. So I go back to OK. I'm going to look at the contents of that as well. Hit OK. And the type of information I want my trip meter to show me. Distance, average speed, economy, instantaneous economy, what my range is, my driving style. And I can turn any one of those off. So if I wanted to turn off average economy, I just hit OK. It turns off, turns on, all depending on what I want to see. I'm back up here. I'll go to the next item, which is my display. Display is the info panel. So info panel, I hit that. That's the thing that's in the very center of the screen, where when we first started, you saw the car, the picture of the car. So if I'll show you what that is. So if I just escape out here, that silver F-Pace in the middle, that's the info screen that we're going to be working on. So go to info panel, OK. Now right now I have it off. So while it's off, it just shows me the car. If I go to media, and now we go up there, we go out, my media is off. So if I turn on the radio,
lead rates and so forth,
it's going to show what I'm listening to. If I change it, it's going to show what's on the radio, different music, things like that. So I'm going to shut that off so I don't get charged for broadcasting music. So if I go back in there, go to info panel again, and this time I want to show my trip summary. I can show my trip summary, and now I'll go out of there, and now it's showing that thing we showed. So now I have my miles to empty, my average miles per gallon, how many miles I've driven, my instant current mile per gallon. That shows that trip A at the top. If we selected trip B, it would show trip B. I'm not too keen on that. So the next one, which I think a lot of people like, is map. So I can sit here, and now I can have a map in between there. Now this isn't to be confused with the whole map, or I'll get into that later, right? You can see the whole thing turns into a map. This is kind of like the map that would be on my center screen, kind of where I am, what's going on. And then the next one that we have, last one, is the driver assistance. So driver's assistance, get out of that, kind of shows the car. So if I'm weaving in and out of lanes, what that represents is the hood of the car and then the road in front of me. And when you're driving straight, they light up green. So I'll do a video where I'm actually driving and we can see how these things operate while I'm driving. But I think that would be a little bit distracting. So for right now, what I've been keeping it on is, when I go to my info panel, I've just been keeping it off, or media. So I'm going to go back to off for right now. And that's it for the driver's assistance. So if I go into display again, display. So now, that was the info panel. Now display layout, this is where I have the 2 dial. What you see now is 2 dial. If I would go into 1 dial, this is what the 1 dial looks like. And I can escape out of here totally, so you can see. So let me kind of zoom out a little bit on here, so you can kind of see what that looks like. So now I have the 1 dial in the center, have the tachometer on the outside, mile per hour in the center, and then my gear shift in the middle. And you can see now I kind of have the info panel where the silver car is off to the left. We go back in, and I can go into my left panel info, what I want to show there, what I want driver's assistance, my media right now I have it off. Display. Whoop. Now I can go into the right panel. Do I want the map over there, trip summary, or have that off as well? So I can go over there and shut that off. And now if I escape out of here, now I got the car on either side, which looks kind of crazy. I go back in here, go back to display layout, and I want to do full map. So now we have the full map. So now I have the whole entire map, and as you can see across the bottom, we still have our fuel tank, our miles, what gear we're in, our mile per hour, our trip meter, and any other relevant information. I use this occasionally if I am driving somewhere and I do have the navigation on. I do kind of have it down here if I glance down, but also have it in the heads up. And go back down to display layout, media, the media display. Now, as you can see, has a speaker in the background. This gives me mile per hour and all my media information. So I'll turn the radio back on. It'll kind of show what the radio station is, who's playing, what song is playing. I guess this is if you're really into your music, or if you really want to see what's going on. It's kind of an interesting view. It's not one I'd probably keep on that much. And go back to layout. And then the driver assistance layout is this one, which gives us now the whole entire screen, which is a lot larger view. And so for driving, it's going to show us as if we kind of veer off the road, one side will turn red, the other side will turn green. If you're doing well, both lines will show green. So this is kind of like almost like a real clean view, because you just have basically your mile per hour. As you can see, there's no tachometer. So I'm going to go back. I kind of like the 2 dial layout. So we'll go back to 2 dials, and there we are. And now we go back into display. And we have units, which is basically speedometer. I can do mile per hour or kilometers. If you live in the US and you want to think you're going really fast, you can go to kilometers. It looks like you're going really fast. I keep mine at miles per hour. Let's see. The trip, if I want to do miles, mile per hour, kilometers, same type of thing. Now we have pressures. I'm showing it in PSI. You have kilopounds and then bar, depending on where you are in the world. And then temperature, which is going to be Fahrenheit and Celsius. And I know the U.S. is the only one in the world. Well, I guess there's one other country that still uses Fahrenheit. Everyone else uses Celsius and metric. So go out of here. And the last one is language. You can pick a language. I have it set for U.S. English for right now. And those are all the settings under display. Hey, Stuart. I see he's said hello. So now from display, we had, next one is heads up display. Now the heads up display is basically, we can enable it or disable it. And that's the thing that floats in front of me on the screen. If you haven't seen heads up display, basically, let me see if I can adjust this and kind of show you. If it'll even pick up on this. Not sure if you can actually see it there. Kind of zoom in a little bit. There we go. Yeah, kind of focus a little bit. Kind of see what I see. So when I'm driving, right now it's in park, 0 miles per hour. It'll show the latest, whatever sign I passed last. It'll read the actual street sign. So last street sign was 40 miles an hour. If I put this in gear, I'm trying to do this without killing myself. It's going reverse, neutral, drive, go back to park. So that's the heads up display. And go back to here, kind of zoom out. There we go. Line this back up, lock this down. So on this here, you go into the heads up display. I can enable it or disable it. If I disable it, now it just goes black. There's nothing there on my screen. I don't see anything on the screen. Turn it back on. I can adjust. Oh, I guess initially I just turn it back on. So now it's showing me the Jaguar logo. It's showing me a green Jaguar logo, and then it comes back up with everything. The next one is brightness. I can adjust the steering wheel to up and down for my brightness, how bright I want it. It's actually really bright. This is the version 2.0 in the 2019s. The 2017s and 2018s had version 1. And you had a hard time, if you were wearing polarized sunglasses, it was really hard to see it. It was there, you can see it, but it was just kind of hard. The new one, no problem with polarized glasses. So if we're gonna escape back up out of here, the next one is position. You can adjust it where it floats in your field of view. So if you're a little taller, a little shorter, it kind of moves up and down the adjustment. And then the next one is the content, what I want to see on there. Driver's assistance, navigation, the traffic sign recognition, what gear I'm in, things like that. And you can turn those off or turn them on, depending on what you want to see on there. And that's everything in the heads-up display. The next one is vehicle settings. So the first one we'll get into is our security features. On our security features, let's take a look here. We have my audible lock warning, and what that is, I have that turned on. So when I double click the button, it'll give me that beep. So I'll hear a lock. The next one is two-stage unlocking. Two-stage unlocking is if that's turned on, like if I turn it on there, when I unlock the door, if I grab my driver's door handle or I use the remote and it unlocks, it only unlocks the driver's door. All the other doors remain locked. And if I hit unlock again, it'll unlock the rest of the doors. Or if I hit unlock twice on my remote, it'll unlock all the doors. This is good if you're, worried about, by yourself in a parking garage. When you unlock your door, you don't want somebody to maybe be crouched down on the passenger side and jump in your car. So for me, I'm not too worried about that. That and the fact when I open the door, my wife's always yelling at me about not opening them up at once, so I keep it turned off. Driveway unlock, that's how fast you want to go. You can turn it off. So let's say when you get in the car and you start driving, when I reach 5 miles per hour, the doors automatically lock. And you can set that for different mile per hour. So, as you can see, 10, 20. If I want to set it to 20 miles an hour before they lock, 10 miles an hour. I set it to 5. So once I start rolling away, doors are locked. Or you can totally shut it off. I like to keep it on. You never know. You forget you're somewhere and somebody, wants to carjack you. Those are 3 security features that are security features. Exterior lighting, auto high beam. I'm on. I have the auto high beam. I turn that on, so when I'm driving, the high beams will automatically come on when it's possible. And my high beam information, I have it set for 1 second. It's telling me to pull back to activate it, depending how long you want to keep that active for. Let me go back here. And what side am I on? Is it a right side? Am I on the right side or left side? You should say I drive on the right side, not on the left. That's not where the driver is, so this is correct. Then my headlight delay. I have it set for 2 minutes, so when I shut the car off, the headlights will stay on for 2 minutes. If you want to keep that off, as soon as you lock the door or as soon as you shut the car off, the headlight will go off. I have to keep them on for a couple minutes, so if I'm walking away, walking around somewhere, I can see where I'm going. And went too far back. Go back to last one is convenience features. So reverse mirror dip, whether you want that on. So when you put the car in reverse, do you want the mirrors to reverse or not reverse? You turn it on, turn it off. Windows global open. That's when you hold down your button, all the windows will open all at the same time. Same thing with global close. You can have them globally close all together. My wiper settings, I have auto wipe, and then I can turn that off. My auto wipe is set up to where when I am after it wipes once, before it shuts off, it'll wipe one more time to kind of get rid of all the rain on there. So or if you use your spray, it'll go and then wait a second and get those last few drips. I kind of keep it on. And in winter park mode, if I turn that on, that turns the wipers, it props them up about 6 inches above the windshield, and that shows, so during the winter, they're not below the bonnet or below the hood, so they don't freeze to the glass. You can turn on your defroster, or if you have a heated windshield, I keep that off during the summer. Okay, go back down to gear shift paddles. Do you want them active when you're only in S mode, or do you want them active in D and S? I keep it on S, so that way I know I'm going to use them, don't actually hit them by accident. So you actually have to be in S mode to use them. I have them set up for that. So that's the convenience features. And so now we'll go back to vehicle settings. And the next one is vehicle info. So do I want to show all my warnings? I say okay, there's no warnings right now. My tire information, what my load setting is. I have mine for normal load. Light load is if it's usually just you in the car. It's a little bit softer ride, so you can go to light load, and you can also adjust the tire pressure in your tires. So it's a little bit softer ride if you want to do that. And then the recommended pressures for each. So for light load, the front and rear recommended tire pressure is 34 pounds, and normal 43 pounds. You put it to 34. Like I said, it's a little bit softer ride. It's usually if you just have you in the car, maybe you and a passenger. But if you typically have 4 people in the car, carrying a lot of weight in here, keep it on normal. Tire pressure is going to show me current tire pressures. So in the parentheses, as you can say, what's recommended and what actually. So right now all my tires are actually at between 45 and 46. It's hot outside, so there's a little bit higher pressure in there. I'm sure if I check this in the morning, they'd probably be a little bit lower because it's cooler. Oil level, it's not available because the car is running. I have the car running while I'm doing this. And they'll show whatever the last alarm was. Front passenger doors, because I had the door open, I opened the door. So it's showing me the last time I had an alarm. And then it's my vehicle VIN. If you type that, it'll show your vehicle VIN number. Alright. Phone, I go to my list of recents, who I called recently, phone numbers I called. Okay, we'll go back. Hit okay. Phone. And media. So now I can go to the different sources. So I have my sources if I want to switch between satellite, my phone, online media. I can just pick one while I'm driving and select that. I go to my favorites. So I have some favorites here in my, right now I'm on the radio, so here's some favorites I just kind of have on my radio, and it kind of tells me what song is playing if it knows. If I want to find particular audio, I can go through. Here's all the channels right now that are playing on FM, so I can kind of go through while I'm driving and look at all that stuff. And if I want to change the band to AM or FM, because I'm in the radio. So if I was to change the source to XM, I haven't activated the XM satellite. I'm going to do that on the first of the month, a couple days here. I can go in and do all my satellite stuff. It goes through the same type of thing. And I believe the last one we haven't looked at, let me see, driver's assistance. So we'll go through here. I have collision avoidance, so my Ford alert is turned on. You can set the sensitivity. I have mine set to medium. Normal. I have it a little bit more sensitive than it should be. I don't want to run into stuff. The Ford alert, I can turn that on and off. So let's say you're sitting in traffic, you just want to shut it off because you keep getting close to the car in front of you and you're in like bumper to bumper traffic. You don't want it always beeping on you. Emergency, automated emergency braking. That's where if you're driving down the road and someone, pedestrian comes out in front of you or a car stops suddenly, the car will try to emergency brake to avoid the collision. You can turn that on or off. Your blind spot assistance, I can turn that on or off. I have it right now alert only, so it's going to alert me if there's someone in my blind spot. If I turn on steering assistance, if there's someone in my blind spot and I go to turn to get in that lane without paying attention, the car will fight me. It won't let me turn in that lane. So when I try to turn, it's really hard on the steering wheel. Now I can override it if I really jerk on the wheel, but that's letting me know, hey, there's someone in that lane. So I don't automatically just tool off and hit them. Right now I just have it set to alert only as I get used to having the car steer for me. Cross traffic monitor, that's when I have it set for forward and reverse. So if I'm pulling out, say out of an alleyway, and somebody's coming down the road, it's going to alert me, hey, there's someone coming down the road on either side that I can't see. Same thing if I'm in reverse, I'm backing out of a driveway and someone's coming up the alleyway, it's going to alert me that someone is there. Like I said, I can certainly turn those off as well, so if you're in an area that you know there's constant traffic, cross traffic, and you want to constantly be alerted, you can shut it off. Go back up to the top, and we're back to trip. So that's everything on the panel that you can see. We've gone through all of the different items here, and you can see this I have mine set up. And if I go up one more, it just kind of closes it. So that's the video for tonight. I think it went off pretty good without any hitches this time. If you have any questions, if you want to see anything any different, feel free to let me know. Leave some comments, like the video, or give me some feedback, and we'll do some different videos another time. As always, thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.